wisdom teachers, gentle healers, and bold leaders of our global awakening. Welcome to the Joshua Jordan Experience. Listen to gather mystical insights for an extraordinary life. I am present. I am always here now. The question to answer is this: is my attention present? We often hear be here now, be present, be mindful, etc. And we know that staying present takes practice and focus. Consciousness exists only now, and our body exists only now in fixed space-time coordinates. Consciousness that exists includes the mind, and the mind includes our attention, and our attention is unfixed in time and space. Our attention drifts away from the present, and it can get lost in our thoughts and recalling our memories or imagining the future. Unless we have practiced mindfulness, attention wanders frequently. And that's not a good or bad thing. It just is what it is. Now, we have a program called Autopilot, and it is perfectly designed to assist the human mind. For example, if you will observe how when you're driving your car, autopilot has taken over the driving while your mind then is free to wander around and or focus on other matters. So autopilot is perfectly designed so that when we are doing routine things that are boring and that we're also able to feel perfectly safe with our autopilot running the program, such as driving, then you'll see how the autopilot program has its benefits. I want you to notice, though, when you have a memory from the past or you have a thought of the future, the mind can only do this now. Consciousness only exists in the present. So if you're thinking about the past or you're thinking about the future, you are doing that in the now. So you are here. As I speak right now, some people are experiencing feelings connected to their memories, while others plan the future. Our interpretation of incoming data is immediately placed in the context of what we know, which is completely based on our past. All that we know is what we have experienced. So our interpretation of incoming information is all filtered through the context of our past so that we can make sense of it. However, this tends to pull us out of the present. It's not good or it's not bad. It just is a part of human design. Because of this process, many people live in the moment as if it equals the past. Are we aware now of our thought and feeling choices? Or are we running on autopilot? Do we go about running our pre-recorded programs rather than being present and responding to what is happening in the present? You see, our need for context predisposes us toward living on autopilot. And again, this is not good or bad. It just is. I'll share with you a story that illustrates this point. So in my 30s, I served on jury duty. It was my first time on jury duty, and I had no context for this experience other than TV. So I was curious about it, and I wanted to find out what it was like. So what unfolded for me was actually a terrible experience. It was a nightmare, and I told myself, I never want to serve on a jury again. Well, sure enough, 30 years later, I received a jury summons. Would you believe it? Feelings of dread immediately began. And this was because of the context of what had happened 30 years ago. The thought of being on a jury made me anxious. Uh, but I had to comply with the summons. That's the law. I hoped to serve my time without being seated for a trial. That can happen. However, my number was called and I had to sit in the jury box. Internally, I freaked out. I felt like a wildcat trapped in a sack and I was fighting to get out. And I made a fool of myself with the lawyers who interviewed me, and they realized that I could not take the anxiety of being on a jury ever again. I mean, I made a total fool of myself freaking out, but they did let me go. So I got what I wanted, however. My fear and stress had nothing to do with the present. It wasn't about the present trial. It had nothing to do with the other people I was in the jury box with. It wasn't present at all. My autopilot program was telling me to flee based on the past. So we want to be more conscious of when we're not responding to the present and what is going on in the present because of our triggers from the past. Dreading a future event is often based on the same beliefs about your past. So when you've got something coming up in your future that reminds you of something that happened terrible in the past, it can cause anxiety, having nothing to do with the present situation. So present awareness awakens the observer. In the present moment, we have the freedom to choose our response rather than to react automatically, unthinkingly, out of some programming we put in place a long time ago. Mindfulness is a word that's often applied to present awareness. A mindful focus on the present is powerful because it takes us off of autopilot and restores our power of choice over our programming. With practice, mindfulness relieves anxiety about the past and the future. Being aware of the present is not about forgetting our past or about ignoring the future. The aim is to keep our attention present and to make conscious choices. Mindfulness brings our attention to the content of our thoughts and feelings. This action returns us to the point of power, which is now. Keeping our attention present enhances our journey because we stay awake and we choose our thoughts, our feelings that create our own reality. Thoughts and feelings can only occur in the inescapable present, yet our attention drifts. Running on autopilot equals surrendering your conscious choice. Habitually worrying about the past or future events wastes the present moment. Nonetheless, our past is a teacher worthy of our respect. And dreaming of a brighter tomorrow may bring about positive change in actions. The past and the future belong in our thoughts. The key is to have my attention present as I think of the past and the future. So here's one of the tricks I use. I'll share it with you. When I catch my attention drifting, I apply these simple steps. The first thing I do is observe the content of my thoughts. What am I thinking about? The second step, I notice how I'm feeling in the present. Do I feel pleasant? Do I feel unpleasant? If feeling pleasant, there's no need to make any changes. But if I'm feeling unpleasant, anxious, worried, stressed out, uncomfortable, I want to consciously choose. That's my third step. I consciously choose what I'm thinking about, and that changes how I feel in the present. So I invite you to give that little process a try. It's simple and it works for me. Give it a chance. It might appeal to you. I welcome my freedom to choose my thoughts and my feelings. And I refuse to beat myself up for drifting into a memory or planning my future. You see, being present doesn't mean we ignore the past or the future. Our memories arise now. Our thoughts about the future occur now. So, I am present, yet, am I aware of the content of my thoughts and feelings? Am I paying attention? The context of our experience is always present, making sense of what we observe and the input we receive. Paying attention to the content of our thoughts and feelings allows us to respond to life as opposed to reacting to it from a pre-recorded program. I'm going to move myself aside now as I feel Joshua present, and I want to move aside and let him speak to you now. Please be patient. Hello, beloved ones. It is my honor to speak to you, the teachers, healers, and leaders of our global transition. It is my joy to be in your presence. I am an entity. I have arrived at this part of my development, and as an entity, I am the source of thousands of souls, and these souls are the source of multiple lifetimes upon the planet. Through the souls that I create, I am able to directly communicate and connect with the people of the earth plane. And I have a direct connection to you through the souls I have created. And I have studied human nature for eons. And with eons of study of human nature, I have come to be your guide, to be your teacher, to help you rise above fake spirituality and religious constrictions that teach you to fear God and to separate yourself from your mind and your ego and these things that have been judged to be bad for human spirituality. These are great misconceptions. I touched on this last I spoke to you, and I will say it again. Human nature is divine nature. You were created by the one source of all that is. What is within you that is not divine? That I would like you to answer for me. Yes, humankind has its struggles, and there are distortions and exaggerations of energy that leak out in ugly ways on the world stage. And that is why you are being called right now to help us make the transition into an age of love-based creation. You see, the time you live in now is still deeply ingrained in the fear-based creation. And those who fear change are acting out dramatically at this time on your global stage. You can see it, that extremes have begun to leak out because it is time for shadow to be known, to be recognized, and for the teachers, healers, and leaders of our time to show humans the way forward to creating the love-based reality. No longer living in fear of one another, no longer living in fear about the planet's health, no longer living in fear is the goal of our transition and our great awakening. To the best of your ability, I ask you to be in the present moment, to live your life from the present and respond to it with love rather than react to it out of programs created in your past. I love you, and I bid you a good day. Yeah. In summary, I just would like to say, at the moment you ask yourself, is my attention present? You just brought it into the present. And just asking that question puts you in awareness of the present moment. Observe present thoughts and feelings and then decide if a shift is desired. You see, you are in control of your thoughts. Under all circumstances, be gentle with yourself. You know, learning mindfulness takes practice and it takes time. And if it's something that interests you, I want you to know there are countless teachers and resources out there available to you. Some of the teachers of mindfulness might be in this audience. We want Autopilot to do the driving most of the time. It will keep us safe. However, I urge you to observe the content of your mind and your attention when it wanders. Our attention must be here now if we want to respond to the present rather than react to it. The present is not equal to the past. And when you shut off autopilot, enjoy the present. Thank you for listening. We hope you heard something to ponder and gained inspiration for your journey. Please join us again next time. Joshua says, let the light grow, let love show, and let your life be fun.